So today we will be learning from the Introduction to Judaism, a source book on Orthodox Judaism. So the word Orthodox is actually a new thing. So in the 19th century, some modern Jews, primarily in Germany before there was only the Ashkenazi or the Sephardi and Hasidim or Misnagdim. Ashkenazi versus Sephardi is usually like Ashkenazi is like more kind of Eastern Europe. Sephardi is more like, or Europe. Sephardi is more like Spain, Middle East. And then we have Hasidim, which are like Hasidism, and the Misnagdim, who oppose, still Jewish people, but oppose Hasidism. They undertook to reform the medieval tradition so as to bring it up to date with optimistic rationalism of their time. Those Jews who objected to such changes in age-old traditions became the first Orthodox Jews. Orthodoxy, in other words, is the ones who wanted to stay traditional. So technically, there's no such thing as orthodoxy. I'm just saying my own words. It was the people who continued to be what Judaism always was. But in order to say it wasn't the modern people who were changing the tradition, they got a new name. And I know that doxy has to do a Latin word that means praising God. Okay, so Orthodoxy is the brand of Judaism that resists change on the grounds that Torah was literally given to Moshe on Har Sinai, the mountain of Sinai, so that no law deduced from it may be tampered with, even in our modern sensitivities, even if our modern sensitivities don't like what the law says. Some Orthodox Jews are fundamentalists who don't even recognize the Jewish state, even though they may live there, on the grounds that it was established by human beings, not by God. By contrast, modern Orthodoxy is a movement that tries to harmonize ancient tradition. In other words, some Jewish people say the state doesn't exist. It's a country, it's a land that God gave us, but to make a state out of it, like the way states are in the world, is not right. Okay, it's not aligned with what they consider to be the Torah. By contrast, modern Orthodoxy is a movement that tries to harmonize ancient traditions with contemporary perspectives. Nevertheless, if modern ideas such as feminism conflict with traditional teachings, the tradition always takes priority. Thus, Orthodox women retain traditional roles in the family. They do not become rabbis, and in the synagogue, they are not part of the minyan, which is the minimum quorum for public worship, 10 men. And they sit separately from men. The basis of belief and practice for Orthodox Jews is the traditional body of Jewish doctrine, recorded in the Talmud and codified over time in a series of law codes, especially in the Shulchan Aruch, which means like the set table. Everything's clear, all the laws. The name given to the entire legal, Shulchan Aruch is the name given to the entire legal tradition based on the Talmud and the law codes, which is called a halacha. And the law codes. Orthodox Jews search out the halacha and the Talmud codes and commentaries and then live by it, regardless of how modern thought and personal conscience may view the practice in question, which is often extremely challenging. I myself am working on trusting the rabbis. All right, so then we have Reconstructionist Judaism. This is from the founder, Rabbi Mordechai Menachem, and this is also from the Introduction to Judaism, a source book, where Rabbi Mordechai Menachem Kaplan theological views were that he didn't believe in a personal God. Instead, he thought of God as a force, like gravity, built into the very structure of the universe. God, he said, is the power that makes for salvation. By salvation, however, he meant nothing otherworldly, but just the guarantee that our striving after ethical behavior and personal satisfaction is not in vain. Since the universe is constructed to enable us to gain personal happiness, these are his views, and communal solidarity, when we act morally, it follows that there's a moral force in the universe, and this force is what the Reconstructionists mean by God. Kaplan intended his Reconstructionist foundation merely to propagate his view, not to form a separate movement in Judaism. Indeed, he was highly successful in inculcating his philosophy into the personal views of many Reform and conservative rabbis, and that was what came after Orthodox. We got Reform, who are trying to reform, and conservative, who say Reform is too much, let's back up a little, but still not Orthodox. I want to share in Makkot 23b 24a, which is in the Talmud, as mentioned in the Talmud. Rabbi Simlai confirms there's 613 commandments. King David reduced them to 11, enumerated in Psalm 15. One who walks uprightly, does righteousness, speaks truth in his heart, who has no slander on his tongue and does no evil to his fellow, and doesn't pass on gossip about his neighbor, and who despises vile people but honors those who fear God, who may lose by an oath but won't renege, who doesn't lend money at interest, and who won't take a bribe against the innocent. Isaiah 33:15 reduces them to 6. One who walks in righteousness, speaks uprightly, who despises gain gotten by oppression, who refuses to take bribes, who will not listen to murderous talk, and refuses to look complacently on evil. Micha 6:8 reduces them to 3. Do justice, love mercy, walk humbly before God. I love that. Some say the humbly is actually considered modestly. Okay, then we have Isaiah again. Isaiah is Yeshayahu in Hebrew. 56:1 he reduced them to 2. Keep justice and do righteousness. Amos 5:4 reduced them to 1. Seek me and live. Rabbi Nachman ben Isaac found this too inclusive and suggested that the righteous shall live by his faith, which is from Chavakuk 2:4. He said it can't be the one thing, the epitome of the Torah, to seek me and live. Okay. Specifically when it comes to the 613 mitzvahs, we know about the convert, Ruth, King David's grandma, but like great-great-grandma or something like that. The numerical code, there's tons of numerical codes in Hebrew because each letter is also a number. So we have the Ruth, it's like a code, it's like computer science if you think about it. It's a program. 606, which is she represents the first written convert. So a convert takes on 606 more mitzvahs because there's 7 Noahide laws that every non-Jew also has to follow. 7 Noahide laws since Noah. I'm sure that there's other videos where I referred to it, but you could always Google 7 Noahide laws. A convert takes on 600. I can read them right now, actually. Give me a second. I want to read them exactly, so I'm going to get the card. Believe in God, do not worship idols. Respect God and praise Him. This means don't blaspheme His name. And you could add on whatever it means for you. It's a personal practice, and also in the original divine attributes. Respect human life. Don't murder. Respect the family, which is don't commit immoral sexual acts. Respect for others' property. Don't steal. Respect all creatures. Don't be cruel to animals. And creation of judicial system. Pursue justice. It's interesting. Respect all creatures. I think I influenced somebody who is not yet Jewish to understand that we can't let animals suffer. When I found a mouse in a trap first, I tried to get it off with water, and then unfortunately it couldn't move. It was really too far gone, and it was just laying on its side trying to move, and it was really, really suffering, and I had to kill it, and it was challenging. Anyway, so a convert takes on 606 more mitzvos after those 7 Noahide laws, which are, there's books and books written on these 7. I mean, this is the same way there's books and books written on the Talmud. I mean, there's over 2,000, books and books on the Torah. I mean, the Talmud itself, without all, the later commentaries that we're learning still from all the teachers, there's over 2,000 pages. It could take 7 years. These are big pages, big books, okay? So, on top of these 7, the convert takes on 606, and Ruth, her name, Reish 200, Vav 6, Saf 400, so that's 606. All humanity has these 7, plus 606, they become 613, which is the mitzvahs for Bnei Yisrael, children of Yaakov. And now I want to talk about different versions of things. So first of all, and one more thing, Shabbat 140b, also from the Talmud, Rav Katina says, one who stands on a board in the middle of a bed, it's as though he were standing on the stomach of a woman. Certainly injuring the woman is breaking the bed. It's unacceptable and incorrect behavior. So that's an example of some random things you'll hear when you read the Talmud. It's not, each thing could have layers and layers inside of it, open for interpretation. That's why we say, like, there's so much commentary and so much learning and so many different ways to live with it and to really see it in your life. Like, and how deep it can go. In other words, when we're learning Torah, it's really like infinite pathways. So now that we're talking about different kinds of things, so in the Zohar, written by Rabbi Shimon Yochai, chapter 4, parsha Taub, which is vayikra 6:2, Leviticus, there are 5 kinds of fire that are used to that used to descend on the offering. 1, a consuming fire which does not drink. 2, a fire that drinks but does not consume. 3, a consuming and drinking fire. 4, a fire which consumes both moist and dry things. And 5, a fire which does not consume nor drink. And 6.2, we have it, that's from the Zohar. And then 6.2, we have, this is the Torah of the burnt offering. It is so it says there's 5 parts. 1 is the Torah of the burnt offering that correspond, okay, to the 5. 2, it is the burnt offering which shall be burning. 3, upon the altar. 4, all night. 5, the fire of the altar shall be burning on it. So, yeah, and I don't want to finish with that because I wanted to share 3 types of cows in the Torah. We're talking about offerings. So there's, first of all, a cow for milk, then a cow for meat, and a cow for sacrifices. In Zevachim 1:16, it says Rechav was 10 when the Jews left Egypt, and for 40 years of the Jews in the desert, she was a prostitute, and at 50, she converted, and she converted after Kalev and Pinchas, the 2 Jewish, they were messengers sent out. So another idea that the interpretation says she converted. And I want to give a comment about Hasidism specifically, and also Moses. So why do we need Moses? Rabbeinu, rabbi. So some people say rabbi is like Rosh B'nai Yisrael, the head of the children. So it's like the head is able to represent everyone. So that means a rebbe brings you closer to yourself, brings you closer to God, which is your true self, right? So Shais Taub, for example, he's a Hasidic man, a Chassid. He says a rebbe is like the Baal Shem Tov, who gives everything away he has. So in other words, he is a real leader who serves the people and doesn't look to rule over people. The Baal Shem Tov was the fourth of a certain special kind of leader, and it's the master of the good name, and they were Kabbalists. They had, a lot of time in the Talmud, it's very well documented. They made people, they made out of with special words. They created a person almost like a robot. They used to walk through walls and teleport and revive, unconscious people and so on. It was just because their beliefs, they were not limited. And so that's what we say, it's infinite. The Torah is able to bridge the gap between the spiritual and the physical. They both come from the same original source. So in other words, a rabbi tells you, I heard from somewhere once, tells you where to look for your gems, to look for your gifts. Also, it says your teacher goes into exile with you. You're never in a low place without your teacher, and so on and so forth. So it's this most loyal companion, and also guides you and can bring a miraculousness into nature. And I think I'll stop with that today and continue. This video is for Monday because I didn't record a video. That was my birthday. All right, bye.